My beloved child, be still in my presence and listen to what I desire to sow into your heart today. There are seeds I placed in your life long ago, promises I quietly covered over you with grace. Small beginnings you once thought were insignificant. But I tell you this, what belongs to me will sprout in its appointed season. Even if the land before your eyes seems dry, even if the weather around you is harsh, even if you have waited so long that it feels as though nothing is moving anymore. The life I placed within you has not died. It is only being covered, protected, and prepared beneath the silent soil, so that when my time comes, it will rise with a strength that does not come from man, but from the one who called it into life. But precisely because that holy seed is within you, the adversary will not remain still. If it cannot erase what I have placed in you, it will try to slow you down. If it cannot make you leave me completely, it will try to make your steps heavy, your heart troubled, and your eyes dim before the things I have promised. It does not always come with a terrifying roar. Many times it comes through a very small thought, a passing feeling, someone's words, an old memory, or an unhealed disappointment. It knows your emotions can be shaken, so it tries to breathe toxic winds into them, turning a small cloud into a storm within your heart. Child, stay awake. A careless remark can be magnified by it into a sentence pronounced over you. One rejection can be twisted into the feeling that you are unloved. A temporary setback can be turned into the lie that you were born to fail. It will take the fragments of a difficult day and raise them before you like a wall you cannot cross. It will make you look at life through the lens of exhaustion, so that small things become heavy, temporary things seem eternal, and what I am quietly doing becomes hidden behind the noise of anxiety. There are mornings when you open your eyes and your heart does not want to rise. There are nights when you lie still in the darkness, wondering whether you are walking the wrong path, whether you are wasting your years, whether you are trying for something no one sees. There are moments when what once made you burn now feels like a burden on your shoulders, and you begin to think you no longer have the strength to continue. But I want you to understand that heaviness is not always truth. Emotions can be signals that need care, but they must not become the throne that rules your life. Only my word has the authority to define you, guide you, and name your future. The enemy will whisper to you that every effort is useless, that no one needs what you are doing, that it would be better for you to give up before you are wounded any further. But beloved child, that is not my voice. My voice may correct you, but it does not crush you. My voice may invite you to stop and rest, but it does not urge you to quit in despair. My voice may show you what needs to change, but it always comes with hope, grace, and a path back. The voice that sows poison only wants to drain you, isolate you from support, and make you forget that every small step of obedience you take has value in the holy realm. Do you know, child, that every time you continue to pray, even before seeing results, darkness loses part of its power? Every time you choose to believe, even while your heart is trembling, fear is pushed back. Every time you rise again after a day of stumbling, accusation no longer holds you the way it once did. The adversary fears quiet perseverance more than you realize, because it knows that small steps placed in my hands can become a great road. It does not need you to make one great mistake. Sometimes it only needs you to neglect one day after another. Delay little by little. Lose your fervor layer by layer, until you think you have wandered too far from the promise. But I tell you, return today. One step back in truth is more precious than 1,000 wandering steps in confusion. Remember the prophet Elijah. He once stood on Mount Carmel and witnessed my power revealed in a wondrous way. Yet not long afterward, because of fear and exhaustion. He ran into the wilderness, sat beneath a broom tree, and asked for everything to end. Do you see? Even those who once stood strong can grow so weary that they no longer see the road ahead clearly. But I did not rebuke Elijah with harshness. I sent an angel to him, gave him food, allowed him to sleep, and then gave him food again. Because I know there are battles that cannot be overcome by strained effort, but must be passed through by being restored in my care. Before I gave him the next direction, I let him rest. Before I spoke in a gentle whisper, I healed his exhaustion with bread, water, and tender presence. Therefore, do not consider rest to be weakness. Do not allow busyness to disguise itself as faithfulness. Sometimes the enemy does not need to pull you into what is wrong. It only needs to make you too tired to discern what is right. It creates constant urgencies, making you run from one place to another, answer one call after another, until your heart is dry while you still think you are serving. But child, what I have entrusted to you is not nourished by exhaustion. It is nourished by remaining in me. When you leave the source of water, yet still try to bloom, you will soon find yourself withering. Return to me before you collapse. Drink from my peace before thirst becomes bitterness. Weariness can cause you to doubt the things you once held with certainty. When your body and soul are worn down, promises that once shone brightly suddenly seem distant. Guidance that once felt clear becomes covered in mist, and even your own worth is placed beneath the shadow of doubt. But I do not want you to make major decisions while your heart is depleted. Do not abandon in a dark night what you received in the light. Do not make a conclusion about the whole journey because one stretch of the road is difficult. Do not call yourself a failure simply because today you are tired. You are not your passing emotions. You are my child, upheld by faithfulness that does not change. When lies rise up, bring them into my light. When you hear within yourself that you are useless, remember that I do not create anything meaningless. When you hear that no one needs your obedience, remember that there are people who will be lifted up because of your quiet faithfulness. When you hear that giving up would be easier, remember that easier is not always better. Sometimes the narrow path is the very place where true life opens. I am not telling you to strain endlessly. I am telling you to lean on me. I am not telling you to prove your worth through accomplishments. I am telling you to remain in my love. And from there, to Volk, beloved child, I am teaching you to govern your emotions with gentleness, not denial. When you are sad, bring your sadness to me. When you are angry, let me touch the pain behind that anger. When you are afraid, hold my hand instead of running after dark assumptions. When you are tired, rest in me before you believe the voice of despair. I will not be ashamed because you need restoration. I am your father. I know you were formed from fragility, and I gladly lift you up with patience. Look again at the seed I placed within you. It is still there. Dry seasons cannot destroy the life I have spoken. Criticism cannot uproot what I have sown. Weak days cannot erase the calling I have given you. If today you can only take one small step, take that step with me. If today you can only whisper a very short prayer, whisper it honestly. If today you can only rest instead of running forward, rest in my arms without condemning yourself. I do not measure your faithfulness by outward noise, but by whether you still return to me amid every struggle. Then your season will come, not because you have never been weary, but because you have learned to return to the true source of strength. Not because you have never been shaken, but because you have allowed me to become the firm foundation beneath your feet. Not because the enemy no longer whispers, but because you have come to recognize the voice of your Father more clearly than the voice of deception. Rise in peace. My child, tend your heart as you would tend a holy garden. Pull out the lies before they take root. Water what I have sown with prayer. Rest, obedience, and hope. What I began in you will not be ended by darkness. That seed will sprout in its appointed season. And when it rises, you will know that I was always working, even in the days when you thought everything was silent. My beloved child, there is a quiet work I am awakening in the hidden place within you, a work that does not begin with outward noise, but with very gentle stirrings in your heart. In the past, you often came to me because of your own needs, your own pain, your own questions and desires. That was not wrong, for I am your Father, and I gladly hear every word you speak to me. But now, I am enlarging your heart so that you will not only see yourself, but also those who are lost, families that are breaking, generations that are weary, and lands that are dry because they lack my light. I am placing within you a flame of intercession, not so that you may carry the whole world by your own strength, but so that you may touch the heartbeat of my love for humanity. There will be times when you wake up with a heaviness you cannot explain. Sometimes you will be at peace, and suddenly tears will rise because of a person, a place, a generation, or something you never thought you would care about so deeply. Do not quickly assume that this is meaningless sadness. There are tears I sanctify to become seeds of deliverance. There are sighs in prayer that the earth does not understand, but heaven hears. I do not place that burden upon you so you will collapse, but so you will understand that true love does not only receive comfort, it also knows how to stand in the gap for others, how to cry out when they no longer have the strength to cry out, how to lift a generation before me with pure mercy. And while I teach you to intercede, I also teach you to rest. These two things are not opposed to each other. Child, a true intercessor is not someone who is always tense, afraid, or convinced that if they stop, everything will fall apart. A true intercessor is someone who knows how to place the pain of the world into my hands and then stand firm in my peace. You are not called to become anyone's savior. I am the Redeemer, the Restorer, the one who makes a way. Your part is to listen, obey, pray according to the prompting of the Spirit, and then trust that the power belongs to me. When you do this, you will not be burned out by the burden, but kept warm by the holy fire that comes from me. Remember Nehemiah, who heard that Jerusalem lay in ruins and that its gates had been burned with fire. He was not standing in that desolate place, but when he heard of his people's pain, his heart melted before me. Nehemiah wept, fasted, prayed, and received a burden. Not so he would sit forever in sorrow, but so he would rise at the appointed time. I turned his tears into courage, his prayer into a plan, and a cupbearer in the king's palace into one who rebuilt fallen walls. Do you see? True intercession does not only create emotion, it opens a way for action guided by me. When a person allows their heart to tremble in rhythm with mine, gates that were once closed can be opened again. Ruins can be rebuilt, and things considered impossible can begin to move. In the same way, child, there are gates in your bloodline, your family, your land, and your generation that have long been closed by fear, disappointment, sin, silence, or unseen curses. But when you pray in obedience and humility, I will use your tongue like a sanctified key. The things your ancestors longed for but never saw, I can cause to sprout in your day. Promises that seem to sleep through many seasons, I can awaken through a heart that knows how to trust. You are not living only for yourself, you are standing at a sacred intersection, where the past is brought into my light and the future is opened in hope. I have placed you in that middle place, not for self-exaltation, but so you may serve with faithfulness. However, as you step into a deeper dimension of intercession, you must also prepare for more subtle battles. Warfare does not always come through great outward events. Many times it begins with a small thought that causes you to doubt, a distraction dressed like an opportunity, a weariness that makes you want to loosen your watchfulness, or a comparison that causes you to lose joy in the portion I have entrusted to you. The adversary does not only try to make you fall through obvious things, it also tries to make you so busy that you can no longer hear my voice, so anxious that you forget to pray, so doubtful that you withdraw from your watchman's place. Therefore, I teach you to keep your heart pure not by straining, but by remaining in me day by day, hour by hour, breath by breath. Let your whisper become simple and steady. Please stay with me. You do not need to adorn your prayers with display. I am not looking for magnificent yet empty words. I am looking for a true heart, tender, watchful, and ready for me to lead. When you remain in me, you will know when to speak, when to be silent, when to move forward, and when to stop. You will learn to distinguish between an opportunity that comes from me and a distraction that only wants to pull you off the right path. You will recognize that not every open door is a door I want you to enter, and not every delay is failure. There are times when I hold you back to protect you. There are times when I tell you to move forward, even though you do not yet see enough evidence. Wisdom is found in fastening your ear to my voice, more than to the noise around you. In that season, I will also teach you a kind of rest different from what you once understood. You once thought you could only be at peace when everything was finished. Everyone had changed. Every problem had an answer, and every promise had taken shape before your eyes. But I want to bring you into a deeper rest, where you can sit still amid what remains unfinished and yet not panic, because you know I am working. True peace is not the reward you receive after you have controlled everything. True peace is the mark of one who knows they are walking in the right direction under my guidance. When you follow me, even if everything around you is still unfinished, within you there can be stillness, like a lake beneath the hand of the Creator. Then you will realize that on this journey, not everyone will walk with you to the end of the road. I will bring people who support you, people who watch with you, pray with you, build with you, and remind you to return to the light when you are weary. Receive them with gratitude, but do not place them in the position that belongs only to me. There will also be people who leave your life when their season has been completed. Do not panic when some relationships begin to grow distant. Do not try to hold at any cost what I have gently removed from your hands. Some people are sent only for one stretch of the road, one lesson, one awakening, one moment. When that assignment ends, your obedience is not found in clinging, but in releasing with peace. Beloved child, letting go is not always loss. Sometimes it is the doorway through which you step into freedom. If you cling to people more than to my voice, you will easily be shaken when they change. But when you cling to me first, you can love others with an open heart without turning them into your source of life. I want you to know how to love without dependence, to walk with others without losing your path, to cherish without worshiping what has been given. Every healthy relationship in your life must lead you closer to me, not pull you away from peace, purity, and obedience. So prepare your heart for the new season with tenderness and watchfulness. I am birthing within you a heart that knows how to intercede, eyes that know how to see beyond personal pain, and a soul that knows how to stand among ruins and still believe in restoration. I will not allow you to burn out when you know how to come to me to be filled. I will not let you lose direction when you choose to listen to me above every other voice. I will not allow closed gates to remain closed forever if the hour has come for me to open them. Pray, rest, release what must be released, receive what I am sending, and walk with a pure faith, knowing that I remain with you. From your hidden whispers, I can shake dry places. From one obedient heart, I can reconnect what has been broken, rebuild what has fallen, and open a future where my light is seen through your very life. My beloved child, let your heart grow still before the movement surrounding you. For not every strong wind comes to knock you down, and not every long night is a sign that I have gone far from you. There are seasons when I allow you to pass through the valley. Not so you will sink into fear, but so you will learn to recognize my voice more clearly amid chaotic sounds. You often think that if I love you, every path must be smooth, every door must open immediately, and every prayer must be answered in the way you desire. But child, my love is deeper than temporary comfort. My wisdom is wider than your brief vision, and my promise is never canceled simply because the circumstance before you has become difficult to understand. Remember those who walked before you in faith. David was not carried directly from the pasture to the throne in a single day. Before he wore the crown, he had to learn humility through the harp, courage before wild beasts, perseverance in caves, and purity when he had the chance to take revenge on the one pursuing him. Esther also did not enter the palace merely to live in beauty and safety. She was placed in a critical moment, where silence could place an entire people in danger, while courage could open the way for deliverance. Those stories were not recorded for you to admire from afar, but so you may understand that I am still the one who acts in places that seem blocked, still the one who positions people at the right moment, in the right place, in the right season, to reveal my good intention. Therefore, when you find yourself being tested, do not quickly conclude that I have turned my face away. Sometimes it is within the testing itself that I am making you deeper, steadier, and more awake. A seed cannot become a tree if it remains forever on the surface of the ground to be admired. It must be buried in darkness, in silence, where no one applauds. And from there, life begins to break open. You are the same. There are seasons when you think you have been buried, but in truth, I am planting you in the soil of maturity. What you call delay, I may be using as roots. What you call loneliness, I may be using as a sanctuary of encounter. What you call loss, I may be turning into space where I can pour in something purer. Reflect also on Gideon, who once hid in fear, threshing wheat in a secret place because he trembled before the enemy. When I called him a mighty warrior, he did not yet see himself that way. He looked at his weakness, his humble family, and the oppressed condition of his people, and he thought my word was too great for who he was. But I do not call people according to what they currently see in themselves. I call them according to what I have placed within them, and according to the purpose I will fulfill through them. Gideon learned that victory does not come from numbers, shining weapons, or the noisy confidence of man, but from my presence. When the army was reduced until only a very few remained, it was not weakness, it was the way I revealed that my power does not need to depend on what the world calls strong. Do you see? Beloved child, many times I do not add as you expect. Instead, I take away so you may know what truly upholds you. I may remove false supports, fragile assurance, and praises that easily make you forget the true source of strength. Not because I want to leave you empty, but because I want you to be free from dependence on things that cannot save you. When Gideon stepped out with clay jars, burning torches, and trumpets, what threw the enemy into confusion was not human might, but my arrangement. You too will have victories that no one can explain by ordinary reasoning, because I will choose simple things in your hands to bring forth results beyond your own strength. The holy witnesses in Scripture all bear one common mark. They were not exempt from hardship, but I preserved them through hardship. Daniel still entered the lion's den, but the mouths of the lions were shut. His 3 friends were still thrown into the fiery furnace, but the fire could not consume them, because I was present among them. Joseph was still sold, misunderstood, and forgotten in a dark prison. Yet the years that seemed buried became the road that led to rescue for an entire people. I do not waste the tears of the righteous. I do not forget hidden faithfulness. I do not allow the days you endure in silence to become meaningless. Everything placed in my hands can be redirected, purified, and used for a higher purpose. Therefore, do not judge my promise by the weather of a single day. A storm cannot erase the sun. It only temporarily hides the light from your eyes. A season of waiting cannot cancel my covenant. It only tests what your heart clings to when you have not yet seen the result. I am never late in the way you imagine. I come at the right time. Not too early for you to become proud in immaturity, and not too late for my plan to fail. When I am silent, I am still working. When you do not see a door opening, I am still preparing the key. When you have not yet heard the answer, I am still shaping you so you can step into that answer without losing humility, gratitude, and watchfulness. My beloved child, let the stories of old become a lamp for your steps today. Do not read them as distant memories, but as reminders that I am the one who does not change. I lifted the small one to stand before the giant. I placed courage in the woman who thought she could only remain silent in the king's palace. I called the fearful one to become a leader. I turned prison into a step upward, wilderness into a school, a dark cave into a place of preservation, and tears into seeds of harvest. And I am doing the same with you, even though today you can only see a very small part. So do not let fear write the rest of your story for you. Let me hold the pen. Do not let circumstances name you. Let my word confirm that you are loved, guided, restored, and sent in the right season. When you are tired, lean on me. When you do not understand, trust me. When you do not yet see the way, take each step in small obedience. I do not require you to see the entire road. I simply invite you to hold my hand through each part of the journey. Then, a day will come when you look back and understand that no trial was allowed to cross the boundary I had set. No night was longer than the power of my dawn. No delay could make my promise void. I am leading you, keeping you, teaching you endurance, and preparing deliverance at the most beautiful appointed time. Stand firm, my child, not by strained effort, but by the quiet faith that the one who began a good work in you will also complete it. Those who walked before you saw my faithfulness, and you will see it too. Be at peace, for I am with you, and my hand has never let you go. When you are filled with my spirit, you will no longer walk in the same fragility as before. I will place within you the ability to discern what brings life and what only wears a sweet covering while leading to ruin. I will teach your mouth to speak pure words, your eyes to look toward what is noble, your heart to stay away from old traps, and your hands to build instead of holding on to things that have wounded you. The strength I give is not cold hardness, but gentle steadiness, not self-satisfaction, but faith resting in me. You will learn to stand upright in trials, not because you have never trembled, but because you know the one who holds you is greater than every pressure surrounding you. Therefore, beloved child, do not look back at the past with eyes of shame anymore. Look back to know how much I have brought you out of. Then look forward to see how many new seasons I am still preparing for you. Every time you truly repent, that is not your ending, but the threshold of restoration. Every time you choose light instead of darkness, you are reclaiming the land of peace that belongs to you. Every time you tell me that you need me, heaven is not silent. Grace begins to move. Healing begins, and invisible chains lose their power over your life. I am here, nearer than your breath, more patient than all your doubts, more faithful than every promise of mankind. Place your hand in mine once more. Let me lead you out of the old place, through the waters of humility, into the land of freedom. You no longer have to live like one whose peace has been stolen. You no longer have to bow your head before shadows I have already defeated. Rise, my child, with a heart that is tender but not weak, with eyes that are pure but not naive, with faith that has been tested but has not died out. I will restore you, keep you, purify you, and make your life a gentle testimony that my love can turn brokenness into a garden, a long night into dawn, and a once trembling heart into a dwelling place of holy peace.